Mauga continues to expose the support problem within Overwatch 2, and it's time that I really sit down and talk about it, because for how long do we allow this to go on until we realize that what is currently ruining the game and the overall gameplay flow isn't the tanks, isn't the DPS, is certain key overpowered support abilities that range starting from Ana's anti-nade over to Baptiste's immortality field, down to Kiriko's Suzu, specifically the invulnerability part of it. And in some cases, while it can be annoying, I don't find it overpowered. I do think life viewers, life pools and vulnerability factor can be a little bit silly as well. However, life pool is a very interesting cooldown in the way that it functions, so I'm going to ignore it for this topic and save it for another video. The main thing that I want to talk about that Mauga basically exposes with the support problem is the fact that key cooldowns that work against tanks, just the idea with these cooldowns isn't even a setup to derive a play from the player forward. It just shuts down the other person, and I feel like this problem is going to plague the tank role the further we go on with these more big broody brawler like tanks like Junker Queen, Roadhog, Mauga, where they're not really about the traditional tank playstyle of having these barriers or some form of bubbles and defense matrices that want to absorb damage. Rather, the way that they want to control and maintain space in the game is through existing and just kind of the threat of, oh, this thing can kill me very quickly, so I need to run away. The problem with this archetype of characters is Ana specifically is incredible against them, right? To the point that these characters can almost just not play the game when Ana is in the lobby with them, and you might not have Kiriko to cleanse yourself. Now, should the game be like that, that okay, I want to play Roadhog or Mauga or Junker Queen, and the enemy team is running Ana, well, okay, if my supports do not swap off of Moira, do not swap off of Lucio, well then what am I supposed to do? I don't even get the chance to play this tank the way he's meant to be played, because they have such strong cooldowns that just shut me down instantaneously, right? And if your support, let's say, wants to play Lucio or Moira, and they don't always want to swap and play Kiriko just to be able to cleanse these effects so you can further play the game, well then you're at a greater disadvantage than the other team that might be mirroring the Mauga pick. A Mauga with an Ana is obviously going to be stronger into a comp where Mauga doesn't have an Ana for a plethora of reasons. Anti-nade or Ana's bio-nade just in general in this game has almost up to 3 to 4 different effects, depends the way you look at it, right? So we need to be able to understand, like, where do we draw the line when it comes down to certain support abilities completely shifting team fights. No cooldown in this game that is in the tank or DPS role can completely shift the course of a team fight the second it hits it. These cooldowns are either combos to help do the job. For example, Storm Arrow is another way for Hanzo to apply extra pressure or take close range deals, etc, etc. Genji's dash is a mechanic where he uses to secure a kill, and then from there chain his dashes into either securing a kill on another target, or he comes back to his team and continues. Tracer's blinks are meant to be used in creative ways where it can help set her up engagements, as well as bait out cooldowns before she goes for a one clip or potential one clip onto a target that may be needed. And Doomfist's punches are pathetic because they completely strip that identity, and we got a Doomfist video coming out later this week that I'll talk about the problems with Doomfist and just in general when it comes to popular heroes and Blizzard's very, very biased approach towards them and all that type of stuff. So now that we kind of understand the problem with the support role and in terms of key overpowered cooldowns going against them, well, what is the solution, right? Because if we don't deal with these problems, tank already has the lowest queue time in the game. That means basically nobody wants to play it, if I understand the way queue times work. I just woke up, guys. Like, if I got that wrong, please excuse me. But my point basically is that less and less people want to play tank because the role is feeling more and more unfun to play. Now, is that the reason because supports are overpowered, or is that because there are certain key cooldowns in this game that when a certain effect is brought out with them, it completely shuts down support, a tank player entirely? And I believe that is the case. I am slowly going towards that camp that I don't think, that support as an entire role is overpowered. I feel like there are supports now that are in healthier spots. For example, these ones we already know. So Lucio, Mercy, Zen, these are in much better spots, especially Zen. I feel like the fundamental rework to Zenyatta's Discord was actually amazing in the way that it has an individual cooldown depending on the characters you target, and we can kind of see this, that they understand that, okay, we tried our best to make this like this Discord orb ability, somehow a little bit clunky, somehow it breaks line of sight, but the problem with the ability is that once it hits, it's very strong and it's very easy to do. And in my personal opinion, and I say this as someone that has over 1,500 hours on Ana, that in a 5v5 format, anti-nade cannot be allowed to exist, because the second it hits the other tank, it's over. Like, it's not even a debate. It's such a powerful ultimate, and this is not even, sorry, I said ultimate, but really it can be considered an ultimate with the value that it can bring. It's an ability, right? And if you pair that up with Sleep Dart, you can bully so many characters out of the game with just how much power those cooldowns hold, right? Granted that you can argue that, well, then now the Ana is vulnerable, but to what? If Ana is like forcing the enemy tank being unable to push properly, and your tank can delete the enemy tank because of Sleepless Nade, then your tank can also peel for you in case their DPS or, let's say a little bit more of an aggressive support player try anything, right? At least that's, in my opinion, that's what I'm seeing happening right now, is that so many games are just kind of like, okay, do we have an Ana? Okay. Do we have BAP? This is what we can do with this comp. Do we have Kiriko? Excellent. Now we can counter their nades. We can counter this and that. And, as long as abilities like this kind of remain in the game, they don't allow for a bit of a breathing room for somebody to be able to counteract them. It just basically tells that player that, no, you're not allowed to play the game. So, for example, a few weeks ago, we were live streaming Mauga's release, and we ended up on a Rialto game. I'll try to bring that game up on screen right now so you guys can see what I mean. Now, look at my team, right? We basically had something like a Bastion, a Sombra, and Ana. Now the enemy Mauga doesn't have that. Can you imagine the absolute insane disadvantage that he's in? Now, you can say that, okay, but you got Sombra and Bastion against Mauga. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, you're right? But honestly, our Sombra and Bastion weren't even doing that much. In fact, they were getting pressured really well by the enemy DPS. This entire game, it was there on live stream. It was actually my support player, 𝐓𝐈𝐈𝐓𝐄𝐇, my favorite, my duo, my girl. She was just bullying the crap out of Mauga, right? And after this game, we had a discussion with chat. We were like, this is kind of like, what is he supposed to do, right? Like, Mauga by himself as a character just doesn't have anything to survive against these overpowered like support cooldowns. And granted that I'm not talking about the other cooldowns like Suzu, Immortality Field and things like that. I'm going to save that for another video. I personally feel like Ana's Bionade, specifically the anti-effect, that should be the priority number one. I'm willing to overlook and bear out the other abilities in the game from the supporter that might be a bit strong, because I personally feel that the Bionade effect is way too strong. And I've been saying this all the way back, almost 2 months ago, when I made my first support video, the one that popped off and got this channel put on the map. I was saying that, well, we don't have to do that much to change the abilities. Like, Ana's anti-nade in a 5v5 format should be a healing reduction, right? So you still get that added advantage that you can turn the fight around, and the enemy tank now has to play a lot more reserve. And if he doesn't play reserve, well, then you can punish him, because you as a team comp are going to, well, especially let's say if you're Ana and you have like a Baptiste with you healing your tank. Well, if your tank gets the healing up and the enemy tank gets the healing down, there are chances that now all your tank has to do is follow up on that play and win the team fight, right? And it's not, but however, let's say the enemy tank has a way to play corners, has a way to just kind of stay alive and, like block the damage, absorb the damage, whatever the case might be. There is a chance that they can actually live and outplay the healing reduction effect. But against an anti-nade effect, it's pretty much GG's. From that point, everybody looks at that tank and they delete them and then they move on. And to any like support player that doesn't agree that, no, this doesn't happen, I implore you to play nothing but Roadhog, alright, and Doomfist and Wrecking Ball, alright, for at least 1 month. You are not allowed to touch the support role again. If you don't understand how powerful these abilities can be and how they can change the course of teamfight or something like that, I implore you, step out of your bubble, step away from the support role, go over to the tank role and try to learn that role, and understand that when you're playing that role and you're trying to do your job, you just can't do it. And your role just feels all over the place. You don't really know what to do. You have to rely on the DPS on your team to do something. And God forbid, if the DPS are not good DPS players, well, then you as a tank, you're just lost. And what do? You pick Orisa and you waste time. You just stay alive and hope for the best that maybe your supports that can DPS better than DPS will be the ones to turn the fight around, right? So that's basically like my frustrations at the moment. It's like, I've been talking a lot about Mauga lately with my group. We've been discussing like, I know the new Roadhog stuff came out. We're going to talk about that later tonight. Once I can get some gameplay with it, maybe we'll live stream it too. But like, we seriously need to understand that this cannot go on for long. Like making supports clunkier to play is not fun for the support role. Like, for example, like, how is it fun? Like, oh, anti-nade is so strong, we'll just put it on a 25-second cooldown, a 30-second cooldown. My guy, like, you didn't solve the problem. Like, it will still do what it's supposed to do, but now you just made Ana more unfun to play. And is that what we want? Do we want supports more unfun to play, or do we just want to take some power from them where certain key abilities are a little bit too strong and we tone it down? Now, there might be somebody that might be like, well, what about sleep dart? It's so easy to hit on tanks. Yeah, but then they kind of like went around that and said the tank can only be asleep for 3 seconds. Also, in technicality speaking, like, the sleep dart is in theory a skill shot. Yes, the anti-nade can be also considered that, but the nade has a big radius that is pretty generous to Ana and can still, do its job, as well as apply 4 different effects at once, right? Heal your team from the burst heal, increase the healing, hit the tank, and then also damage the tank. That's 4 things that it can do in the most optimal scenario. And I'm going to be real. I've been playing for Ana 1500 hours, reached GM with her in Overwatch 1, reached GM with her in Overwatch 2. I'm taking a break from rank lately, but I will tell you something. It is not that hard to hit nades. Once you get the feeling down of how the nade works in a 5v5 format, especially against like these big brutey brawler tanks that don't have a shield, that don't have a way to like cleanse themselves or protect themselves, like Jungle Queen, Mauga, Roadhog, etc., like Wrecking Ball even, they are very, very exposed to these incredibly strong cooldowns that basically just ruin their day. Now, in cases like Doom and Ball, they can actually run away and survive, or Doom has the power block and Ball has adaptive shields. But Roadhog relies a lot on his healing. I know it's getting changed a little bit, but I still, like, Roadhog will save for a different topic, right? I still don't think Hog is going to have a good time when there's an Ana in the lobby, just because anti is still anti at the end of the day, right? I also think, like, Mauga especially, like, this is a new character that we're bringing to the game. People are going to be excited to play him. Let's say they pick him up, and Ana is a very popular hero. If not, she is by far the most played and the most popular support in 5v5 at the moment, as far as overbuff statistics and what the developers have said have gone through. At least in higher levels of play, she's the most played. And in casual play and everything, I know it's still Mercy, that's the most picked and things like that. But Ana is definitely like with her now. Like, Ana and Mercy are side by side. Pretty much, if we take what Aaron Keller said like a few weeks ago in an interview that I saw, like, Ana and Mercy are basically side by side in terms of most played. But regardless, that's not my point. My point basically is for how long do we try to go around this problem, Blizzard? Like, for how long do we like for example, let's say if we reworked anti-nade, maybe the Roadhog rework didn't even need to happen, because Roadhog is really not that bad of a tank. The problem with Roadhog is he just can't do his job, because certain supports paired with other characters, like, let's say Bastion, Sombra, like May and things like that, like, once you kind of bring all these things together against a character like Roadhog, what is he supposed to do? And even then, if we want to talk about the Roadhog rework, they didn't actually solve the problems with Roadhog. They just made him feel a little bit more consistent, and they gave him like Ramatra's Ravenous Vortex on a cooldown as a new ability. So Roadhog we'll talk about later tonight once I get some games in with him. And we will also have a video discussing the hero reworks and my opinions on them, kind of putting everybody together from Sombra, Doomfist, Orisa, Roadhog, and just like evaluating like what is the main goal. Like, are these characters better to play now, or was the goal not achieved in what they wanted to do with these reworks? So that is going to be it for this video. If you guys want to support the channel for free, you can do that by hitting the like button, and you can drop a comment on what do you think. Like, what did you think when you played Mauga? Did you feel these frustrations that, damn, when I try to play these big, just like, big DPS like tank characters, like, again, like in this case, let's just narrow it down to Jungle Queen, Roadhog, and Mauga, I don't have a way to deal with Sombra Hack. I don't have a way to do this and to do that. Like, yeah, it's a team game and you should rely on somebody else. But the thing is, Ana doesn't need to rely on her team. Sombra doesn't need to rely on her team to apply these negative effects to you. So you should be able to deal with them better. Now, in Hack's defense, Hack only lasts for 1 second, right? But anti is too strong. We need to look at it right now. That is the priority. Otherwise, tank is just not going to be fun to play, right? And more and we will just we will just circle back around to the problem that we had in 6v6. That's why I made the video a while back where when I was talking about 6v6, 5v5, which is better, in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter because the balanced team doesn't want to change the philosophy when it comes to this game that a certain specific role shouldn't be able to do everything and be a hybrid of two other roles that already exist, right? And again, there are some balanced philosophy decisions by them that are completely missing the mark. That again, I will talk about a little bit later once we come down to Roadhog's rework later tonight. So again, if you want to support the channel for free, hit like, hit subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the state of supports, specifically anti-nade, in the way it interacts with the tank role, right? Because DPS don't actually suffer from anti as much as a lot of support players want to think they do. Really, most DPS don't even care, right? Or most DPS are not even in range when they want to duel Ana. It just pressures flankers a little bit, but any good Genji, any good Tracer, any good Sombra knows how to play around these cooldowns and will find a way to secure the kill anyway, as long as they're good on the character, right? So anyways, that's my opinion for now. I will see you guys later tonight, later on the live stream with a new video coming up, as well as the live stream where we will go through and get a feel for Roadhog. So I will see you guys later then.